Well, what do you do when you lose your temper as a parent? Well, you feel ashamed, guilty, and tell yourself you're never going to do it again. That's probably what you do. I wouldn't suggest that though, because you probably will do it again. So to accept the fact that you're vulnerable as a parent is a good thing. Now, let me give you some kind of looking at how to avoid it, how to prevent it, and then what do you do if it happens? So to avoid it, to prevent it, look at where it's most common for you. Look for patterns. Is there certain scenarios that you're more apt to lose your temper? Where do your children trigger you? Because most cases when you're losing your temper, you've kind of, the common phrase is, I've had it, meaning your patience is gone. I have no more patience. And now we're using anger to invoke cooperation or to get our children to respond favorable to what we're asking them to do, or we're tired of them fighting, our patience is gone. So where do you do that more commonly than other places? What's your pattern? Because if you notice a pattern, you can actually then be aware that you're more susceptible in that scenario to lose your temper and take proactive measures not to. Because every time you lose your temper, you emit a powerful energy, every energy creates. Emotion is energy. It's energy in motion. And when you provoke that and release that energetically into your reality, you are setting yourself up to create another round of it. And so you want to be able to avoid this, to intercept it, and create a different pattern. And that will help you as you start to notice, be aware. Now, let's say you've lost your temper. Look, what's your motive at that point? Do you believe that your children don't listen to you unless you yell? What are your beliefs around your children's willingness to cooperate with you? What do you hear yourself say? What do you think in your mind? Well, I can't get my children to do their chores unless I get upset. My children don't listen to me until I finally just lose my temper. So again, there's a belief operating there. And as long as that's your belief, that will be your experience. And so you need to change your beliefs. So that would sound like, I am grateful my children hear me and respond favorably to my requests. We're all getting along with more cooperation and more equanimity. Just cooperation is a exchange of energy where everyone feels honored. So when you lose your temper, what were you believing in that moment? Why did you need to lose your temper? Again, look at it. Then it's appropriate to apologize. I feel that that's kind of an old parenting way to think that a parent should never have to apologize, that somehow their parenting status makes them, gives them the excuse of being able to mistreat their children. I know, there's a lot, degrees of mistreating your children, but anytime you've lost your temper, you're trying to motivate through fear. And it's shaming to a child. It invokes fear. And so one thing I did, and you may have heard me say this because I know I've taught it in other places in the child whispering world, that I was susceptible to losing my temper. I didn't understand. I was a type 3 energy, and I had a lot of residue from my childhood, and anger was modeled very profusely in my family, that anger was allowed and it was not accounted for, that it was my father used anger very profusely in his parenting style. And so I had a susceptibility to that. So that's another thing to consider. Was it modeled for you? Are you playing out old family patterns that you need to clear? So I knew I needed to clear it. I didn't want to get upset. I didn't want to lose my temper. I wanted to be able to maintain control. So I told my children when they were in grade school, and I knew I had this potential to be hurtful to them, I said, if there's anything that I ever say or do, or I say it in a way that makes you feel scared or upset or afraid, because I was afraid a lot as a child. I didn't want my children to be afraid. I really wanted them to feel safe in this world and safe in their family and their home. So I said, if there's any that time that you feel this, I want you to say to me, Mom, please change your tone. Please stop saying that. I'm scared right now. I gave them permission to have a voice. And they used it. They actually did employ that in different scenarios, even up until their teens and young adult years. I haven't heard it recently. That's probably a good sign. I've been using honoring tones of voices. So that gave them the opportunity to kind of have a power, have a presence, have a voice. And it was effective because I listened to them. I knew if I invited them to say that, it would not be okay if I got angrier and told them they couldn't talk to me that way. I knew that I was committed, and when they shared that, I was able to check myself, make another choice, and manage myself differently so that I wasn't losing my temper with my children. And it was proved to be very, very supportive. So give your children a voice. Help them speak up for themselves. Listen to them. It's an opportunity for accountability. And then be accountable and apologize that what your tone of voice, the things that you said were hurtful. Or ask your child, how did that probably scared you? How did that make you feel? Let them express how they're feeling after you lose your temper. And another topic we won't cover, what do you do if the other parent is the one always losing their temper? We'll have to talk about that because that's tricky, because you don't want to parent them and that's a tricky territory. But be accountable for yourself and give your children the voice and the power that they deserve in their home so that everybody can honor each other in your family system. And you'll be respected and loved by your children for being such an amazing parent. Thanks for watching. What have you done that's been supportive to yourself and your family when you've lost your temper? I'd love to have you share that in the comments.